Hello folks, and welcome to this water drop video where we'll be looking at how to compare and forecast SCADA information to a hydraulic distribution model. Alright, so this video is for operation staffs, it's for modelers looking to publish their distribution modeling results to the rest of the organization. It's for master planning and for calibration analysis. It's for forecasting is the really exciting thing in this video, as these worlds of time series data, SCADA information, and the hydraulic model are intrinsically linked. This video is bringing those even closer together with Info360 Insight and InfoWater Pro. So the workflow we're going to go through today to show that is I'm going to run an InfoWater Pro simulation, pull information from Info360 Insight and SCADA data for that hydraulic run. We're going to specify the actual date and time of that hydraulic run. We're going to look at a workspace then, shifting over to Info360 Insight. That's going to be pulling in that hydraulic model information there. And that hydraulic model runs, I'm actually running it for today, it's going to then start to forecast, okay, what's happening for the next week within that dashboard. So we're going to review, I get a lot of ways that the model in InfoWater Pro and the time series data within Info360 Insight can be utilized, but in this video we're going to look at how could you look at that time series data and then in that same dashboard within have an InfoWater Pro result that's being used to forecast what happens next in my tank, within my pump stations, within different spaces within my hydraulic model. In this workflow, we're actually going to start within the cloud solution Info360 Insight. So we're going to be looking at this network, and this network is just to the west of Denver, water distribution network. And we're going to be analyzing the relationship between real-time data stored here and simulations from InfoWater Pro pushed to this cloud instance. So already I can see some hydraulic model simulations have been pushed to this site. So here we're looking at some flow information from my InfoWater Pro model that has been pushed and is being stored in the cloud and can be analyzed on the Info360 site and compared to other simulations. Now I can also look at this in a workspace view. So that was the map view where we're seeing the overall network and what's there. Here I have a particular dashboard where I can compare the time series data for that same tank and that hydraulic modeling information from that tank as well. So here I'm looking at when this model was last calibrated, a couple of years ago now. Still, ideally good to go and can still trust this, the model that I have, and relate it to the time series data that we're seeing within Info360 Insight. So you can see in this dashboard, not only do I have the tank, but I've got pressure sensors that I'm comparing to, valves, pump stations, and everything's been pretty calibrated to this point in time from 2024. And again, multiple simulations can be shown here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip to InfoWater Pro now, and we're going to create a new simulation that is going to forecast, what's going to happen beyond January 30th, 2026 in this case. So I've got this model calibrated. It's related to that same network we were looking at in Info360 Insight. And now we're going to say, okay, let's run a simulation and let's not look at past data that we might have used to calibrate, but let's look into the future to start to predict what's going to happen next. So if I go to the Run tool, I can do standard simulations, brake simulations, fire flow simulations. In this case, we're going to look at a SCADA simulation and show how we can share that simulation to the Info360 site and workspace I was just showing earlier. Key elements when we're doing a run here are we're going to refresh our boundary conditions and pull those from the live data that's being stored within Info360 Insights. We're going to have the same starting point even if we're predicting into the future with Info360 Insight and the time series data stored there. We're going to start recording from that particular instant, and one of the things we can do here is, again, how InfoWater Pro is, again, relating to Info360 Insight and storing the data there is through the live data adapter. So here are the different sensors that are going to be pulling some of those boundary conditions that we're going to be looking at starting from in this model. So let's go ahead and run this solution here. So we're going to, again, share it with the Info360 workspace. We're going to run this in the cloud. And we're going to do this for this, again, first week of February. So if I go ahead and say run, We're going to pull that data, pull those boundary conditions from Info360. And the next thing it's going to do is it's going to say, okay, you want to do this week-long simulation that I've specified in the standard tab there. So you still specify the time series duration within the same spot within InfoWater Pro inside that standard simulation tab. But what's unique here is we're going to specify the analysis group that's already in Info360 Insight. So this model calibration, we're adding to that group of simulations. We're going to do a week-long simulation, and we're going to start this. Really, we're going to start this on the 30th, today, so that we get a whole week of results that we're predicting into the future there. So we're going to say we're starting the simulation today. That's the name we're going to go ahead and give it. We're going to say okay, and that simulation is going to start to run. So the Task Manager showed up on my other screen here. Let me just drag this over so that you can see it. You see I did one earlier here, and I'm rerunning that similar simulation, type SCADA, and I'm pulling those boundary conditions and running this engine and going to push it to that Info360 site. So we now see that simulation has succeeded. So we're going to go ahead and transfer that to Info360 Insight. And fantastic. Now we've got new simulation results that we can view in Info360 Insight to really look at, what's going to happen next, and not just helping with the calibration that happened in the past there. So if we come back to Info360 Insight in that same model dashboard, I can go ahead and switch my simulation to that simulation called Today. And as we switch to this, we're going to see our graphs change for this particular model here. So if we look at this, it's no longer viewing that past simulation result from when it was calibrated back in 2024, but now it is going to look at the results from today and really moving into the future here. So I might need to refresh. It looks like it's still looking at some older ones there. You'll see now that I've done that refresh, again, I'm going to zoom to the series. And here we're now seeing those results for this first week in February. So if I maybe zoom out a little bit, I can change my time step and maybe zoom out so that I can see where kind of the recorded results from the sensor come into contact with the predicted results from the model. Yep, there it is. So I can see that overlap there for where the recorded results then stop at this point on the January 30th here, and where the predicted results for that tank pick up going into the following week. So very cool application of bringing the model and the time series data together and being able to share your simulation results in a very accessible cloud dashboard or map interface. So I went through that pretty quick. There are a number of different resources though to help you with the details of this process. We have another video on tying live data to your hydraulic model, another short video, just 9 minutes there. There's the entire InfoWater Pro Technical Hub, which is full of trainings and other resources. And then there's the Info360 Insight tour on the help page as well. The links for all of these will be in the description of this video. So this short video has really just scratched the surface of the benefits of this process for tying modeling information to real-time sensor information, to being able to bring modeling results out into a shareable cloud environment for other stakeholders to be able to easily see and make decisions based off of. It's really the next step in the process many utilities are in, where you go from mapping and data collection to hydraulic modeling to digital transformation and eventually a digital twin representation of your network. We hope this has been helpful to you. Stay tuned for more information from Autodesk Water.